On China and Germany relations. I spoke with David Nelson, chief strategist at Bell Point, and I asked him about how this bilateral ties became so important to both.
I think it speaks to the importance of the Chinese market, not just for Germany, but for the EU as well. You know, Phil, if I put it in context, think back over the last couple of decades. 2 decades ago, trade between China and the EU was almost zero. And today, I think the current run rate's about 154 billion. So it's obviously a very important market. And I think both sides are looking for some kind of cooperation and a way to expand the relationship.
This China-EU investment treaty, not a lot of people know a lot of details about this. I imagine Germany's playing a very big role. Just help us out on why this is so important to Europe when Europe already is already very important to China.
Well, it expands the relationship for one, and of course, Germany's on record. They'd like to see a rapid conclusion to this, and Angela Merkel has spoken to this. And there's even been an approach to the IMF to let the Chinese yuan be part of a currency basket. And from China's standpoint, you know, the country would very much like to see their currency get some sort of, you know, reserve currency status. And if you look at how this relationship is developing, already some fruit is being borne. I think Airbus recently signed a deal with China to sell 100 Airbus A320s with an option to buy 30 A330s. That's a significant amount of money, a lot of trade there, and they'd like to expand on that further.
You know, the thing I have with trade deals is this, is we never know what would have happened had there not been a trade deal, right? Because, for example, let's talk about your airplane deal you mentioned with Airbus, the 130 planes. Well, who's to say they wouldn't have bought the 130 planes with or without a deal on the table? And that's what I mean is the relationship is already so strong. What's in it for China? You mentioned the reserve currency basket. Explain to us why this is a big deal for China and what it would mean if they actually got that status.
Well, think of it from our standpoint here in the United States. Certainly the U.S. dollar is a reserve currency, but it helps keep prices for us lower. Oil today is priced in U.S. dollars. So that's a tremendous advantage for us, you know, around the world. I think China would like to see that, and it's also a political statement as well to have your currency be considered a reserve currency. So I think that's why it's important for them. It's very politically important.
Germany is well known, for better or worse, of being the most probably disciplined workforce in the world. They are very strategic, they are very disciplined, and they are very on time, like the trains. This whole crisis with VW, Volkswagen, has made a lot of play here in the United States, at least, and I think around the world, when you think about what they did, what they admitted to, and now we think about the reputational impact that this is going to have. Do you think it will last very long, or will it ultimately be a blip on the radar when we look back at this in a year?
Maybe not a year, but 5 years, probably that would be true. These things tend to pass. Obviously, it's a huge scandal. But it's not surprising that Ms. Merkel is taking the CEO, the new CEO for Volkswagen, to China. And as a matter of fact, she's taking 20 executives with her to China to try to either mend the fences or expand ties. So for Volkswagen, obviously, this has been a devastating moment for them, but it's not insurmountable. And China is eventually going to be the biggest market in the world for autos, so it's a very important market for them. Not surprising that they're going along for the ride.
This Industrial 4.0 that I've been reading about from Germany, first of all, what is it? And how might that help the manufacturing process as it relates to both Germany and China?
That's a good question. I'm not sure I could tell you exactly what Industrial 4.0 is. It's the kind of thing that, you know, most industrial countries do from time to time. They want to update what they're trying to do with their industrial complex. China has what they call the you know, Made in China 2025. But here's where it gets kind of interesting, Phil, and where the rubber really meets the road. You know, Germany is an industrial complex. China is an industrial complex. You know, and while there's areas of cooperation and opportunity there, they're going to be very strong competitors. And there's only so many customers out there in the world, and principally in the United States. They're going to butt heads from time to time, and it's going to be the job of the Merkels of the world and the Xi's of the world to mend those fences, because their industrial complexes will come at odds from time to time.